Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Monday. It's February the 3rd. This will be our chart lesson for today. And hey, what a way to start off the month. If you were on your toes today, you could probably make a month's worth of profits in one day today. And I actually got a couple of emails from people, and saying that it was, questioning if this was actually questioned. I think what they were questioning was it ethical to take money from people that was so easy to take, and uh, I say that jokingly, and but I do get there. I do get it. It's like taking candy from a baby today. It's all straight down. It's all straight downhill. Easy to spot channel. It wasn't easy to spot right here, but if you drew it off these first two, you're trending off these first two swings, and you drug it down, it fits perfectly. Um, there's a median line in here. It looked like we were going to go higher for a little bit, but we didn't have this new low. This is definitely a down channel, and that shouldn't be that hard to see. It looks a little like a trading range, but we didn't have enough price action to call this a trading range yet. Here's the overnight lows. Here's the overnight highs. Yeah, if we'd have bounced right here, I would have said, hey, this looks like a trading range, but there's definitely a downward slant to it. So this is how you recognize that, we've got a bias to the downward side. But we went right on through here and bounced and turned down again right off that line. Um, it's a downtrend, especially when it just keeps going lower and lower. And of course, where does it bounce? It overshot it a little bit, and sometimes that'll lead to a reversal. But don't be buying this thing. Do not buy this thing until you get a confirmed trend in the other direction. And we don't have that here. We came right back up, tested that trend line again, and look at it go. And it's just straight downhill again. And again, we don't turn up. We actually turn up here. And generally, when you turn off the low side, that's going to lead to, a move to the other side. But we couldn't get it. We just got a short trap and kept going lower. And that's your sign, by then, if you don't realize this is all downhill here, and really what you got to be looking for at that point is there's your first leg down, there's your first real correction. And so you got to be looking for a move to right there. And look, we don't really bounce until we get right there, and then it's some more downhill. So you got to recognize that, and you got to be, once this thing's headed down here, that should be your target. Until you get something, like I said, concrete going the other way, you got to stay with that. And notice if you draw these little trend lines up through here on this, you get the break in the new high, and right there. You draw this one, you get the break, and then all those attempts to a new high, and then a trap, and boom, right there. And guess where it's turning down each time? Right off that trend line, which came right off those first two swings. Normally you don't get these breaks this early without seeing a reversal, but it was just too weak. And, plus on top of that, there's shorter term trend lines working down through here. So even if you didn't see till this one, there's that one right there, and you may have drawn it a little steeper like so right here. But then you get the break, the move to the new low. So there's a shorter term trend line right there, and you could have been trading off that one. You get the break, the move to a new low, and you get two legs to a new low, and then you got this other little correction going on. But even on this one, you got a little channel working down with a break and then a move to a new low. So even if you have to draw your shorter term ones to keep you in there with it, those help. But when you get a channel that you can find this easily, this early, it throws you off a little bit right here. But when it comes back right here and tests it and turns straight down on a second entry short, plus it's a breakout. Even if you didn't have that, it's a breakout pullback short, second entry. It's two legs back to the EMA, a possible trend line, even if you started the trend line right here. And you might have even started it right here, because this is really where I think you'd say the downtrend started. And you can kind of see that moving right there. So you might have even seen it like that. You don't have to see it exactly. And you see how that fits really well until it bounces off this stronger trend channel. So there's different ways to see it, but this thing's all downhill. Especially once we started here, you're making lower highs and lower low. You're really making lower highs all the way across here, even though you didn't make a lower low here. So when you made this low, the real key was when it went straight through this overnight low, and then a little two-legged correction that comes back. It's a breakout pull back short, and look at the bottom drop out of that thing. And then two legs back, and there it goes again. Um, So you got to recognize that and go with it. And don't be buying this thing. Definitely don't be buying this, even though you know the odds are we're probably coming back here. Because look, you might have thought the same thing here, and you buy, and it just keeps going lower. And but don't be selling this. This is not rejection of prices. This is just a little trading range, and all it is we're finding support. We're a little oversold. We're bouncing off the lower side, so we pull back to the highs, we test it again, and then we get new strength to the downside again. And even here, if you measure this leg right here and then look at this little correction, that's basically a perfect measured move down into here, right here, and then we kind of bounce. It came up a little short, really, because we really tried to bounce it. That's because we hit the other side of the channel again. But you can see that. There's leg one, and I might have overdrawn that a little bit. So there's leg one, and then there's leg two, and it didn't miss a measured leg by much at all. And if you count that right there, it probably did hit a measured leg before it pulled back and then started down again. And if you measure the third leg, it's almost the same thing. So there's different ways to get to these, shorter term measurements and so forth. But and if I back out, hopefully you can see that. I mean, there's no denying that that's all downhill. And there's some corrections. There's always going to be some corrections. But the clue that you may be losing some strength is when you can't get back down to the low down here, and then you break it again, and you start, it starts kind of leaning this direction. But somebody sent me an email asking about the channel to the upside or something. I don't know what they were looking at. I guess they were looking at one of these bounces, but hopefully you got to find this bigger channel here. So, and there may be some other ways to see it different than what I did, but that's what I see, and I think that's pretty accurate. So let's talk about the trades, and then we'll wrap this one up. But we're off to a great start this month. January was a good month. But you've got this new low here. You're making lower highs and lower lows. You got two legs down. You should have this trend line and this trend line. They fit perfect. This is the first break, so you're still looking for a low. So this first bar here is a doji. So I didn't really like going short below that one, but when this one formed, just put your stop under there. Maybe drop a limit order back up here a little bit. I don't know if you'd have got filled on that if you use a limit order, but put your stop there. It's a second entry short. It's coming off the highs up here where the double top is. It's the first break of this channel. You should at least get a new low before you get any kind of correction. And it finds some support in here. It pulls back a little bit. You get this failed break out of the channel again. You're still looking for a new low. This one was not so clear. This is definitely a little trading range. It's a failed break. But this could have been a trading range, and you might have been looking, hey, maybe we got some support across here. There's still room to scalp out here. But this one was a little more aggressive, I felt like. It's not a second entry because you got a new low. It does look pretty bullish up through there. So, if you took this one, great. It never checked up. It just straight down. But if it's a little bit aggressive because it's not a perfect setup. There's not a great signal bar. You already had a possible break of the channel, but you didn't have a new low yet. It is a failed break higher out of this. It's a lower high than this. So if you took it, you were still kind of looking for that new low. You might have waited on a second entry. If you did, you never got it. So you didn't get it till down here, and you don't want to be entering short down here. So, but when this went straight through, and then you got a two-legged pullback back to that trend line, notice how it touches it to the tick. I was tempted to make this one green, but this is a great breakout pullback. If you're going to take a breakout pullback short, this is the way you want it to look. You might have waited on this bar. I just went short right below this little doji right here, and this was a great trade because it never checked up. And your runners, depending on how you entered it, they should have been safe. And, you know, you ride this all the way down until you get a touchdown here. And even then you exited too soon. But I just, you know, hey, that's plenty of money right there for me. You got a chance to add on here. Here's you another two-legged pullback to the EMA. You hadn't quite got down here to the line yet. But you were, the only problem is you're looking at, you've already have the break here and you got a new low with a couple of legs down. So you might just want to exit here, but if you do, you just add back on here and you ride it on down again. And so there were a couple of different ways to see that, but the main thing to see is this is, oops, let me just move this. This is two legs back, but I like this because it's a trap. It looks first like it's going to be a short trap, but then it creates a long trap. But notice that first entry pullback, second entry, it's like two tries to go higher, and it breaks one tick higher above those little matching highs right there and turns down. It actually went higher first and then turned down on my chart. So just, you could go short below that little doji, but when this set up, it didn't quite close on its low, but it's close enough and there's plenty of room to get out. You know, you want to risk that trade. It's, you know, and it drops pretty quickly. Any runners were safe. It tries to come back. And then it tries to come back. This was a failed second entry long here. It really would have been enough to get your long, but it's still close enough to be a fail. But it's, you know, we're coming off the low side. We weren't back to the EMA. We weren't back to the midline. We weren't back to the trend line. I just felt like it was really risky taking a trade right there. If you took one, it worked out and worked out great. But I just think it's too risky to enter there. I didn't like it. If you did enter there, you had to look at like, this looks like a failed second entry long, so that's your reason for taking it. But I didn't like it. You already had some good trades down through here. Why risk getting short right there? Just wait on a better setup. We're overdue for a pullback, and you see then we got hung up. This is no man's land, just like this is. You don't want to be entering in this. You know, even though there's a failed second entry short there, you can't go long right there because you don't have a new low yet. It's right here at this trend line. It worked, but I meant to talk about that a minute ago. I just don't think it was worth taking that trap right there because it's too big a chance it turns up and traps you and turns down just like it kind of did there. But again, this is no man's land. This is a little trading range. You know, if I'm going to enter here, I'm probably going to go long because we're way overdue. But I just think it's too risky. You can't take a long on a day like this. Not until you get a confirmed trend to the other side. And here you had a little trend line working up. You can see it right there. I don't quite have it steep enough. It looks more like that right there. And you can see how well that's fitting prices on both sides. It's a nice little channel working up to get the break, to move to a new high. That's a big bearish reversal bar. It broke out the top first and then turned down. So I like, you know, on a day like this, I like going short right off that trend line. If you waited on the second entry, you got it right here. It didn't matter. Either one of them was good. Either one of them, your runners were probably safe, and you ride this all the way down to the other side again. Great trade. I liked either one of them, and I liked even adding on right there if you were already in. And then you get the failed second entry long right here. So I liked going short right there. It took it a minute to work on down, but I still liked it, and you can see it kept on going and just kept on going. That's a trap right there. It's a failed second entry. It obviously didn't trap that many people, or people were just too hesitant to go short right there, which I would have been if it wasn't for the trap. But I liked it because you got this median line, and it could have come back up here. But I liked it because of the trap, and that's a very bearish bar. You might have even gotten shaken out if you did. Not much you can do. It never really gave you a chance to get back in until down here when it pulled back. This is a breakout pullback short. We weren't down to the other side yet. It pulls back and tests that breakout area right across there. It also tests the median line, and it turns down. Just go short right there and look at it. Boom. Straight to where you think it'll go, the other side. And I really thought we'd come back to the upper side here, but again, there's a trap right there on a very strong sell-off. You got a new high, pull back first entry, pull back second entry, and it's like a one-tick trap. And look at that bearish reversal bar. Just go short right there. And again, you're looking for it to go to this other side, and you can ride it all the way down. And if you want to, you can add on right back here. It's a two-legged pullback to the EMA. The test, we still haven't got down here yet. Look at it go, and at that point you could just be looking for a measured leg from right here. Oops, I don't know what happened there. Let's try that again. There's leg one. Get it just right here. And so you're looking for something similar to that. And there's leg two, and you can see it's almost we actually went a couple of ticks further. So nice, easy trade. Then you get another correction. Now you're on the other side, so you got to be hesitant about going long. It's not worth going long. Just sit down tight and wait. And look, you get. I like this one. This was the first break. I wasn't sure if this one was like this, and that was the break, and it could have been. It fits either way. Either way you do it, you still get a fairly nice fit here. But I looked at it like it really was this one right here. And you get the break, move to a new high. It's close, very close. So it's a second entry though, just, you know, and when it came back here, this might have been a reason to get out with whatever you could. But then you get the trap, and it turns down again. It's a second entry short off this low, first entry, pull back second entry. So I like that one, and then it's off to the races again. And then you get a failed second entry long here. Notice the new high, first entry, pull back second entry. It's like a breakout pullback, double retest to that right there. Look at that big bearish bar. Another chance to get in. This was, you didn't get any runners on that one. And that was the last one I marked. That was in the lunchtime. You know, there were some other trades in here, and it can just continue to go on down here. There's traps in here. There's all kind of stuff. Draw your trend line. Anyway, plenty of chances to enter today, but I just marked through lunchtime, and you had a chance to make a mint between there and lunchtime. Now, if you're buying counter trend trading, you're just probably getting trapped, and you can't sell when you get down to these lows. Just like we talked about, it's getting too dangerous to sell down in here, and when it gets flat like this, you know, you got to wait on some kind of little trap or something. That's the only way I'd be interested in it. And then again, when it gets down here, just wait for it to come back. You got to be patient and wait for it to come back up here. And now you can see we're starting to lose a little momentum, but it's still swinging lower every time. And then you finally get another little break and move to a new low. And it looks like we may come out of there, and it just creates another trap. And it just, you know, we just kept working lower, almost closed on the low of the day. I mean, when you get a day like this, it's hard to reverse it. Doesn't mean that you can't, but it's very hard. So, but I'm into this thing for 20 minutes, and it's pretty, you know, it's a pretty straightforward downtrend day. That's about as good as it gets. Not much else you can say about it. Just wait. You got to find the trend lines and just wait for the pullback and go with it. And if you're having troubles, look for the shorter term ones, whatever it takes, find it. Draw the trend lines on the other side. If it's a trading range, you know, the reason you get resistance here or you get congestion is because there's too much resistance, because it's overdone and it has to come back to the other side, and then it's like a reset, and look at it go, boom. And then you finally, you know, you got two legs down right there, and then you get the correction and another reset, and boom, it's off to the races again. And then comes back, another reset, boom, and it takes off again. And, you know, that's what's happening. So hope that makes sense to you. Hope you had a good trading day. Hope you weren't trying to counter trend trade today. If you were, understand that on a day like this, you're only looking to sell. And we don't get a lot of days like this. So when you get one that's straight up or straight down like this, take advantage of it. Just be patient, wait on the setups, the traps or whatever with the trend, and get on with it. So, but I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.